What is up, you guys? We are back with yet another awesome film. And our movie today opens with Ed and Holga knocking out a very dangerous looking criminal and later making their case of appeal to get out of prison. As they make their case, we learn how Edgin, or Ed, got himself in prison. I'll give you guys the short version of the story. Years ago, he became a member of the Harper's Fraction. They're basically the good guys. And as he was doing the good stuff and taking out the bad guys, he ended up stealing a bunch of gold that belonged to a red wizard. He did this on account of mostly not getting paid for his job, and he had to provide for his family somehow, and he couldn't have soup all day. After he stole the gold, one of these red wizards tracked the gold to his house. They killed his family. Well, they just killed his wife, not his daughter. But he became such a drunk that he was unable to take care of her and provide for her, and that's where he met Holga. And Holga had her own issues as she was banished from her tribe for loving somebody from another tribe. And since they both needed a job and Ed needed to provide for his daughter, they decided to be thieves. And for the next few years, Ed, Holga, and his daughter went around from place to place robbing people. And it wasn't just the three of them, they had two other people. Simon, their wizard, and Forge, their con man and sometimes getaway car. Or should I say cart. But one day, they get contracted by a person called Sophina to get inside a place only a Harper can enter. Ed didn't really want to take a job, seeing that Sophina's a little creepy, and for a bunch of other reasons. But what convinced him to do it, well, that was Forge, but then again, the reason was the Tablet of Reawakening, which he could have used to resurrect his wife that died years ago in the hands of one of the Red Wizards. But their heist didn't really go so well as Holga and Ed got caught and the rest made it out. And in the middle of Ed making his appeal and telling the story, he kept asking the judges where Jonathan was. I figured Jonathan would just be somebody that would take pity on them and grant their appeal, but apparently he was a giant bird that they used to escape the prison even though their appeal got accepted, but they didn't think that it would. So yeah, now you're all caught up as to how Ed and Holga made it out of prison. And as they were grabbing drinks and figuring out their next plan so that Ed could go see his daughter Kira, who was in the care of Forge, the con man, they find out that Forge is now Lord of Neverwinter. Neverwinter. Yeah, pretty cool name. And when they go there, they do see Kira, who is fine and well, but Kira wasn't really excited to see her dad as she blames him for getting caught. Later, as they talk to Forge and ask him how he became Lord of Neverwinter, he tells them that he didn't do it alone, and the person he's referring to is Sophina, who happens to be his top advisor now that he's Lord. Ed and Holga are not really excited to see Sophina as she's the reason they got caught last time after she casted a really crazy time spell. Then something weird happens as Ed asks for the Tablet of Reawakening, but Kira, his daughter, calls it the Tablet of Riches as Forge has betrayed them and has filled her mind with lies about her father, since he's a con man who only cares about his own interests. After Kira stormed off angry at her father, Holga and Ed tried to attack Forge, but since he had Sophina, an incredibly strong wizard, on his side, attacking him was not so easy as Sophina incapacitates them. She then tells one of the guards to execute them, but Ed and Holga fight off the soldiers and they manage to escape. Well, Holga fought the soldiers. Ed was just doing that, yeah. After escaping, now Ed and Holga are on a quest to save Kira. And to perform said quest successfully, they are gonna need a team. First, they track down Simon, and I want to say he learned from the error of his ways and he's not a thief anymore, but apparently he still was. And since he was desperate for cash and really needed a place to stay, he decides to join the team again. And next they needed a druid, someone who can just sneak around the castle, shapeshifting into an animal so that nobody spots them. Hearing this, Simon had an idea as he knew the perfect druid for the job. Allow me to introduce you to Doric. Yes, that's her, the owl bear who's tearing apart those soldiers. And since Forge has banished their people and is trying to execute every last one of them, she decides to join the quest as well. On our next scene, we notice a little fly sneaking around the castle, spying on Forge and Sophina, until Sophina discovers that it's a druid and tries to attack it. The fly, Doric, shapeshifts into a bunch of different animals and escapes the castle though with the information required. She was there spying on them as Ed doesn't only want to take down Forge, he also wants the Tablet of Reawakening that's hidden behind that scary looking door which is protected by something called the Arcane Seal of Mordenkainen. But hearing about this Seal of Mordenkainen thing, Simon wasn't really happy because he's not really a good wizard and he can't break the magic seal to get them through that door. And the only way he could was if he was the most powerful wizard in the land, or if he had something called the Helm of Disjunction, which Holga knows the location to. Well, not her exactly, a bunch of her ancestors that died centuries ago. They would know where it is, and Simon knows how to wake up people who are dead. So, on their way to their location, they take a detour and Holga visits Marleman, her ex-lover, whom she got banished for loving. And apparently, little guy here has moved on with his life. And after giving her back a staff that she gave him a long time ago, they make it to their destinations and they dig open a few graves and ask a few dead people a few questions and realize that the man that they need that has the helmet that they require is Zenk Yanda. And they make their way to him. When they reach Zenk, he decides to help them, but first he gives them a history lesson. He tells them about Zastam, a red wizard who killed all his people for the sake of power, and apparently Sofina is also a red wizard and she is Zastam's apprentice. Zenk knows all this as he is from Thay, the same place where all the red wizards are from, and his parents were taken away from him because of Zastam's spell, the Beckoning Death. After telling them this, Zenk decides to take them to where he hid the helmet. They had to cross a very dangerous bridge that had a lot of booby traps, and as Zenk was explaining how they cross it, Simon accidentally steps on it and destroys the entire bridge. But it doesn't matter, since that staff Holga got from Marleman was apparently a staff you could use for teleportation, and they use it to cross the bridge. So they cross the bridge, they get the helmet, but apparently they were being followed by evil Thayans sent by Sofina. Zenk manages to kill all of them, but you can't really kill something that's undead. So all of this fighting and killing them was kind of pointless, and they run away. And you guys know how this movie's called Dungeons and Dragons? Well, there had to be a dragon somewhere, huh? Allow me to introduce you to the dragon Rayquaza. He's seen slimmer days. So now our team and the evil Thayans are being chased by a fat dragon. To the best of their ability, they try to run away from it, but they couldn't, and luckily for them, Ed comes up with a plan and they escape. Escaping, though, didn't really matter so much for the mission, as Simon told Ed that even though they got the helmet, he can't really attune to it and use it since he's not really a great wizard. But Ed didn't really tell the team as he didn't really want to bring down their morale. And when Simon does tell them that Ed knew, they kind of felt a little betrayed, and Ed had to give a very rousing speech about how they're all losers, and that somehow worked and they decided to go on with the mission anyways. And their plan now is to sneak inside a hidden portal inside the castle and jump inside the treasury, get the Tablet of Reawakening, get Kira, and make it out alive. But sneaking inside was a tricky business as the portal that they hid inside a painting falls to the floor and seals their exit. So they make another plan as Dork decides to shapeshift into a worm and sneak inside, while the rest somehow manage to get inside the castle after creating a very weird diversion. This diversion doesn't really go so well as Holga had to fight off a bunch of guards, while Ed was running around to get his daughter inside the castle, and Doric and Simon tried their hardest to get inside the treasury to get the Tablet of Reawakening. At the very last minute, Simon manages to use the helmet, but that didn't really matter as the door he opened had nothing inside it, and Doric was the one who made it inside the treasury. But this place wasn't really the treasury. Apparently Forge, the con man, was stealing from his own people, and he was sneaking out all the castle's treasuries onto a boat so he can make his escape after. But none of that mattered at this point because Sofina and Forge knew that Ed and his team would come, and they have already set a trap for them. Sofina could have killed Ed and his team right then and there, but Ed convinces them to let them die with dignity. And since today was the beginning of the High Sun Games, Forge and Sofina decide to give them a chance in the arena. If you're wondering what the High Sun Games are, it's basically like a gladiator match, but not against people, but against a giant black panther that has supernatural powers. You basically have to run through a moving maze in search of weapons to take out this monster before it takes you out. And this was quite difficult to do as Simon and Doric couldn't use any of their magic, and Holga and Ed didn't really have any weapons. And even after they acquire weapons, it was kind of pointless as the game was rigged and it went on until everybody died. Doric then notices one of the booby traps, which was a cube of liquid acid, and she decides to use it to make their escape. They managed to get out of the acid cube before they were all liquefied, and they race Forge to his boat before he made his escape with the townspeople's money and Kira. Forge didn't really feel good about how Ed is now in possession of his boat, which is full of treasure, and he almost killed Kira until Holga threw a potato at his face. And after they distracted him with the potato, Simon used his magic and steered the boat, and they were now heading away with not a scratch on them and a boat full of treasure. But looking back at the city of Neverwinter, they see how Sofina is casting the spell of the Beckoning Death, which will kill everyone in Neverwinter. And Ed, who made the perfect plan, got out by the skin of his teeth, and is now riding away in a boat full of treasure, decides to become noble again, and steers back to the town to save everyone from Sofina. This plan, though, was easier said than done, as everyone was gathered in the arena to watch the High Sun Games, and Sofina needed everybody gathered in one place so she can kill them all at once. And in order to get everybody out of the arena so that they don't die, Ed had to give up all the treasure inside the ship by opening a portal and throwing it outside the arena so that everybody gets out to grab it. And as you can guess, Sofina, who wanted everybody to die, was not really happy about this. She attacks Ed and the rest of the team, and they try to fight her off, but Sofina was so powerful, and in the last moments of the fight, she uses a time spell that she used before and freezes everyone. And just as she was making her monologue and she was about to kill all of them, apparently they all tricked her as her spell didn't work because Simon reversed it this time, and they just needed to buy some time until Kira, who can become invisible because of a magic pendant, put on her a bracelet that suppresses magic. And after Kira did that, taking out Sofina was easy as pie. But things take a morbid turn as Holga has been stabbed in the process and the wound was fatal. And Ed, noticing just how attached his daughter is to Holga, decides to use the Tablet of Reawakening on Holga instead of his wife, as he realizes that Holga is the only mother that his daughter knows. And with that, Holga is alive again, the team is back together, everyone is saved, and the Thayans have been defeated, and our movie comes to an end. I really hope you guys enjoyed this recap. Make sure to check out the movie. Also, leave a like, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel. I love you guys so much, and I promise to see you on my next recap. Bye.